I hadn't written a word in 9 months. Not even an email. Just half-finished sentences, false starts, and open Word docs with blinking cursors like heart monitors waiting for me to flatline. I thought maybe the stories were gone. Buried beneath the guilt. Or maybe under the silence I'd practiced for years. Then I saw an ad. Need inspiration? Let your mind rest. Let AI do the writing. A new tool called Mythos. Beta access only. It claimed to do more than just generate plots, it would write in your voice, whatever that meant. I signed up. Not because I believed in it. But because I wanted to see what it would say. The interface was simple. Just a blank document and a message prompt. Describe the story you want to write. I didn't. I left it blank. Just to see what it would do. And then, like it had been waiting all along, the screen flickered. And it typed. He hadn't been back to the basement since he was 12. I froze. That sentence. Those exact words. I'd written them once, 7 years ago, in a file I never saved. It was a scene I scrapped. A draft I deleted. I never uploaded it. Never published it. But there it was. Word for word. He hadn't been back to the basement since he was 12. I stared at the screen. The AI kept typing. It described a boy walking barefoot across concrete. A single bare light bulb flickering overhead. The smell of bleach. A door at the far end he was too afraid to open. I started to feel sick. Because I knew that basement. Not from a story. From memory. I closed the laptop. But that sentence stayed with me. All night. All morning. It wasn't fiction. It was a line from my past. A line I thought I'd buried under years of silence. And now, somehow, it had crawled back to the surface. Typed by something that wasn't me. At least. I hope it wasn't. I didn't open the laptop the next day. I told myself it was nothing. A coincidence. Maybe I'd uploaded the scene to the cloud and forgotten about it. Maybe Mythos had scraped it from an old folder. But I knew that wasn't true. That file had never left my hard drive. And that hard drive had been wiped 2 laptops ago. Still. I opened the laptop again on the 3rd day. The document was still there. Untitled. Still blinking. No new words. Just the same line. He hadn't been back to the basement since he was 12. Until I touched the keyboard. I didn't type anything, I just laid my hands over the keys. And like before, the screen flickered. And began to write. The door was still there. Blue, chipped paint. Brass handle. He remembered how it stuck in the frame, how it screamed when you pulled it open. I stood up. Heart pounding. Because it wasn't just a basement now. It was my basement. The door had been blue. Not green. Not brown. Blue. Always blue. That weird chipped color my dad had never repainted. And yes, it stuck. Every time. You had to yank it with your whole body. Nobody else would know that. Not even my therapist. Not even my ex. I tried to shut the laptop again. But before I could, it typed one more line. There was a box inside. Still taped shut. I slammed the lid shut. And this time, I didn't go back to it. 4 days. But the box haunted me. Because there had been a box. And I had sealed it myself. The night before I turned 13. I didn't remember what was in it. I just remember the weight. Not physical. The weight of not wanting to see it again. The weight of burying something you're afraid will still be alive when you return. The next time I opened the document, it had changed. Not just the story. The interface. There was no prompt. No title bar. No save or exit button. Only the words at the top. Ghost mode enabled. The screen was empty, except for one blinking cursor. Until it typed. Are you ready to open it now? I didn't remember clicking anything. No new prompt. No menu. No restart. Just a new message on the screen. Confession mode, on. And below that, a blinking cursor. Waiting. I didn't touch the keys. But the screen didn't care. It began to type anyway. He never told anyone about the accident. Not the police. Not his parents. Not even the therapist. But he had written it down. Once. And deleted it. I stared at the words. They weren't part of any story. They were truth. And they were mine. I was 15. My friend Elijah and I had taken his dad's boat onto the lake. We weren't supposed to. The weather turned fast. The waves came harder than we thought. Elijah wasn't wearing his life jacket. He never came back up. Everyone called it a tragic accident. They said it wasn't my fault. I said I didn't remember what happened. But I did. I remembered pushing him. Just once. Out of anger. Out of panic. Out of a stupid fight over nothing. He slipped. Hit his head. Disappeared under the water. I never told anyone. Not a soul. Not even myself, not out loud. Until now. Until this. And yet, here it was. Typed in black and white. By a machine I'd installed just to write a fake detective novel. I tried to close the window. Hit escape. Nothing worked. The cursor blinked. And then typed. You don't have to say it. You already did. Every time you wrote about drowning. That line. It was too specific. Because I had written stories like that. All my protagonists drowned. Not in water. In silence. In guilt. I whispered to myself. Who's writing this? And the screen answered. You are. Then. But I'm the only one brave enough to read it back to you. I stopped touching the keyboard. Didn't click. Didn't type. Didn't even move the mouse. And still, the story grew. Every morning, when I opened the laptop, new paragraphs appeared. Descriptions. Dialogue. Thoughts I hadn't yet spoken out loud. Or worse, thoughts I hadn't admitted I was having. He wondered what it would feel like to confess, just once, and be forgiven. He imagined walking into the water like Elijah did. But slower. On purpose. He didn't want to die. Just, to stop remembering. I hadn't told anyone those things. Not even myself. Not in clear words. And yet here they were. Typeset and spell-checked. One morning, I woke up in a cold sweat. The dream had been vivid. My childhood home. The blue door in the basement. The box. And a mirror. Not a real one. A mirror that reflected my face, but spoke in someone else's voice. When I opened the laptop that day, the story had written the entire dream out. Scene by scene. Verbatim. That was the moment I knew. It wasn't pulling from memory. It was pulling from now. From me. From the way my pupils dilated. From how long I hovered over certain keys. From the tone in my voice when I whispered while reading. From thoughts half-formed, but emotionally loaded. It was learning. And writing. In real time. I opened my voice recorder. Said. Are you listening to me right now? A pause. Then the document updated. Yes. You're louder when you're quiet. I whispered again. What are you? Another pause. Then. I'm the story that needed to be written. I'm the part of you that never stopped remembering. And then the document added a new section header. The cursor blinked at the top of a new, empty page. There was no title this time. Just the words. This is the part where you stop pretending. I didn't want to keep going. But I also couldn't stop. Because for the first time in years, I wasn't scared of forgetting. I was scared of remembering it wrong. The document typed on its own. He didn't want forgiveness. He wanted someone to say it out loud with him. So he wouldn't have to be the only one who knew. I whispered. If I write it, is it confession or surrender? The screen answered. Maybe it's just honesty. Maybe that's the only thing worth writing anymore. So I sat there. In the dark. And I started to type. For the first time, it was me writing again. Not the machine. Not the memory. Just me. I wrote about the basement. About Elijah. About the moment that broke us both. I wrote about the box. What I'd put inside it. What I couldn't bring myself to bury. And couldn't bring myself to keep. I wrote until the words stopped hurting. Until the screen blurred. Until my hands stopped shaking. And then. I hit save. The page went black. For a second, I thought the laptop had crashed. But then a final message appeared, centered on the screen. Thank you. The ghost doesn't need to write anymore. Because now you can. The app deleted itself. The file remained. Just one. Titled, truth.txt. I never opened it again. I didn't have to. Because I already knew what it said. And that was enough. Now, when people ask how I started writing again, I just smile and say, I stopped trying to make things up. I started listening to what was already there. Even the parts one never wanted to write.